It's time for Dave Dameshek's #1 sports. #1 sports. Do it, Dave.
A heart-wrenching, surreal night in Queens, New York for the National League Championship Series last night. A taut Game 7 thriller played out in perpetual rain. Tied at 1 through the 8th inning. By night's end, those raindrops would blend with the tears of the 56,000 Mets fans filling Shea Stadium.
So almost poetic.
Yes, well, I stammer a lot.
It was nice, though.
Cardinals catcher Yadier Molina went deep in the top of the 9th. Mets were able to load the bases with 2 outs, down 2 runs. Best hitter on the team, Carlos Beltran, came to the plate and struck out. Brusca's heart was shattered into a million pieces. I was barely able to eat my 3rd bowl of pasta fazool. Cards-Tigers start the World Series tomorrow in Detroit.
He almost pulled out his Kefir IV. Those of you who don't know what Kefir is, you look it up and you'll laugh your ass off.
It's like a cultured yogurt product.
Liquid yogurt.
All right, we've got our NFL picks coming up in just a second here. One of the games we'll pick is the Raiders at Cardinals.
That's good stuff, Ace Man.
Muzzle tough.
Thank you.
All right, Raiders hosting the Cardinals, as I say, we'll be picking that one. It's been a very sad season in the East Bay. 0-5 Oakland. The once proud commitment to excellence. Just win, baby, Raiders. Now the worst team in the NFL, and maybe worse than most of the teams in the Pac-10. But one game that locally really has caught on to boost the spirits of the Raiders fans, I think it should go national. I heard this radio ad playing up around the Bay Area. Take a listen. This is fun.
Remember when the Raiders were good? Neither do we. You want to watch the silver and black, but not when they can't beat a junior high team.
The story of the Raiders, you know, if it's not a turnover, it's a penalty.
What's a fan supposed to do? Well, say goodbye to the shame of rooting for the Raiders and say hello to Oakland Raiders quarterback drinking game. How do you play? Every time a Raiders quarterback screws up, you take a drink. Thanks to the Oakland Raiders quarterback drinking game, watching this horrible team fail has never been so much fun. Just listen.
He wants Moss. Moss is covered by Champ Bailey, and Bailey's got the pick. Interception. Thanks, Andrew Walter. Fumble count again. Wow. Another turnover. Man, the Raiders suck. Woo-hoo! And Walter able to escape for a moment. Watch out from behind. Down he goes.
This team makes me sick.
Hey, the Raiders may be terrible, but you'll be too drunk to remember. Oakland Raiders quarterback drinking game. Get silver and blacked out this Sunday. Complete rules at AdamCarolla.com.
That's in fact true. We have posted the
that.
rules. But instead of drinking black and tans, you drink black and silvers. Guinness mixed with some Bacardi Silver. So you get extra sick.
That's
I think that'll be fun. All right, let's make our football picks here. Let's check the standings, though, on the season first. Yeah. Coming up 4th place, bringing up the rear. And I mean that in several ways. Adam Carolla, 11-12, the only one under 500. In 3rd place, Jessie Jane, the porn star, is 12-7. She's on the line. We'll go to her in a second. Molly the dog, who's joined us again this morning, she's 12-11. Dave Dameshek sits at 15-8.
A budding porn star in her own right, Molly, if you saw her humping the bejesus out of the hippo chair that was meant for our children. By the time those kids get old enough to use that hippo chair, I'm going to have to whack it with a single jerk sledgehammer in order just to break it free enough for them to sit on it.
The good news for Carolla is that in our head-to-head season match, I still am into you for 400 simoleons.
Well, the thing that's amazing is we spin the wheel. Now we make our bets, and then about this time on Monday, we settle them up, but we settle them up by spinning a wheel, and the wheel has 50 cents on it, but it goes up to $5,000, and it has reverse, meaning whoever lost gets to be the winner, and the other guy has to spin. It landed on $50 the first week, $50 the second week, and then $5,000 and $5,000 again in week 5 and then in week 6. So you were into me for 54, then I lost and it landed on 5, but it has double last week's on there. So
at one point, until last week, I was into you for $5,400, but now it's after I spun the 5,000. Now we're down to just $400.
And whoever loses this week and spins that wheel, there's a chance that $10,000 will be taken out of that person's wallet. All right, shall we begin?
Let's. We have Jessie Jane ready to go?
Oh, yes.
She's on the line.
What's happening, baby doll?
What's that?
Porn star Jessie Jane, Night Calls. I watch it every night on Playboy television. Good to speak to you, my dear.
You too.
Jessie, why don't you start us off? Our first game, the aforementioned Arizona Cardinals at Oakland Raiders game. How say you?
Well, you know what?
Arizona, by the way, giving 3 points on the road.
I'm going to go Arizona because, like me, the Raiders do a lot of sucking.
Nice.
Out of the gate red hot.
Notice she was doing that in her new pirate movie, too. Epic pirate movie. All right, Molly the dog, what does she do?
Seems to agree.
Goes with the Arizona Cardinals.
The ladies on the same page. Ace.
I'm going Arizona myself. Raiders got to win eventually, but Arizona heartbroken by Chicago. I just think they're a much better team than the Raiders.
Hear me now, believe me later. The Raiders break their winless streak.
So you think Arizona? There's two schools of thought. One is Arizona is angry and about last week's loss and is going to come back for blood with a vengeance. The other part is they're demoralized.
Correct.
You're going demoralized.
2 heartbreakers in a row for Arizona.
Right.
Plus they played on Monday night. Short week means Oakland wins it. All right. Our next game, Minnesota Vikings at Seattle. The Seahawks giving a touchdown at home. Jessie Jane, how say you?
I'm going to go Seattle because it rains a lot in Seattle and I love being wet.
A lot of range in Jessie Jane.
Molly for the same reasons. Molly's going for the Minnesota Vikings. I have no idea what kind of team the Minnesota Vikings are this year. I can't tell if they're good or not. I haven't been following them closely enough. Seattle, all I know about Seattle is they beat me every single week, whether I bet on them. We either bet for them or bet against them. When I bet for them, they don't score a touchdown. When I bet against them, they light up the scoreboard, or they break my heart by beating the Rams and the spread, and therefore losing on top of losing. I don't know what to do with them. I'm going Minnesota.
All right,
I can't figure out Seattle this year.
And lastly, I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks.
All right.
They got to have a breakout game already. They got crushed by the Bears, and they barely beat the Rams in the last minute. All right, the next game, the hard-charging Carolina Panthers visit the high-flying Cincinnati Bungles. How say you, Jessie Jane?
I'm going to go to Cincinnati Bungles because I'm a sinner.
Cincinnati.
She's very clever. You got to give her
Molly,
that.
by the way, making her picks because Angie puts a doggy treat on a piece of paper with both team names.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
It's led her to greater success than her master.
That's
She's doing
right.
very, very well in this
I know. She's a game over 500. Her master's a game under 500. The person that drove her here is under her. All right. So she goes with Cincy. Master's going to go with Carolina. I bet against them last week, and then everyone explained to me, oh, no, they're really good. But the half point does make me nervous, and playing in Cincinnati, I'm still going to go Carolina. Be prepared for them to not look as good as everyone said they were when I bet it against them last week.
I did fail to mention Cincy is giving 3.5 at home. And Cincy, this is the big game of the season. I think right now we see how good they really are. They seem like a flawed team to me. Carolina coming on really good since Steve Smith came back. I'm going with those Panthers.
All right.
Last game, San Diego Chargers at the Kansas City Chiefs. Jessie Jane, how say you?
I'm going to go San Diego because they get a lot of sacks, and I do my best work in the sack.
There's a couple ways you could have gone with sack.
I thought she was going to go the Harrier direction. Molly, speaking of Harry, Molly, who'd you pick? Molly picked the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow, it's a tough pick, Molly. I'm going to go with San Diego Superchargers, Sean Merriman, a dear, dear, dear friend who I met one time. And I bet against them last week. They had a 10-point spread to cover, and they covered it nicely. I'm going San Diego.
Well, the Chargers are giving 5.5 on the road in Kansas City. Yes, Sean Merriman made me wear a dress because I lost the Steelers bet. To show that I'm a bigger man, I'm going to go with those Chargers just the same. All right, Ace, we got to just establish tiebreaker points in that last game, San Diego at KC. I'll go 44. How about that?
All right, I'll go one up. I'll go 45.
All right, that's that.
Dave Dameshek's #1 Sports.